Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you to the 2023 Annual Stockholders Meeting of Monde Nissin Corporation. I am Mike Pasca, Chief Investor Relations Officer of Monde Nissin Corporation. Today's annual stockholders meeting is being conducted virtually through the AGM at Convene online platform. Present in this meeting are members of Monde Nissin's Corporation's Board of Directors, namely Chairperson Emeritus, Mr. Hartono Quifanos. Chairperson of the Board and ex-com member, Ms. Cataline Dormono. Vice Chairperson of the Board, Mr. Judiono Quifanos. Director, President, and ex-com member, Ms. Betty Ong. Director, CEO, and ex-com chairperson, Mr. Henry Sosanto. Lead independent director, chairperson of the Risk and Related Party Transactions Committee and ex-com member, Mr. Romeo Bernardo. Independent Director and Chairperson of the Audit Committee, Ms. Nina Perpetua Aguas. And Independent Director and Chairperson of the Corporate Governance, Nomination, and Remuneration Committee, Ms. Marie Elaine Teo. Also joining us are Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Jesse Teo, and Corporate Secretary, Attorney Helen Tew, and members of Monde's management. Finally, we also have with us representatives from our external auditor, SGB & Company, led by engagement partner, Ms. Edith Estacio. The results of the final tabulation of votes with full details of the affirmative or negative votes or abstentions in connection with the agenda items up for voting will be validated by Isla Lapana & Company and reflected in the minutes of this meeting. Please note that this virtual meeting is being recorded. I would now like to turn this meeting over to the CEO and ex-com chairman, Mr. Henry Sosanto, who will be the presiding officer and acting chairman for the stockholders meeting. He will be presiding over the meeting from Monde's principal office at Santa Rosa, Laguna, Philippines. Henry?
Thank you, Mike. Good morning, everyone. I would like to thank our valued stockholders for participating live via live streaming in the annual stockholders meeting of Monde Nissin Corporation. In particular, shareholders who are participating in absentia and who will be voting through the AGM at Convene online voting portal, as well as stockholders who are submitted their proxies to the corporate secretary. The meeting is now called to order. Ms. Corporate Secretary, may I know if we have complied with the notice requirement for this annual stockholders meeting or ASM?
Mr. Chairman, we have complied with the notice requirement. I hereby certify that in accordance with Monde's bylaws, SEC Memorandum Circular Number 6, Series of 2020 on meetings conducted via remote communication, and SEC notice dated March 13, 2023 on alternative modes for distributing the notice of meeting, information statement, and other documents in connection with the holding of the company's annual stockholders meeting in 2023, I have caused notice of this stockholders meeting, the information statements and materials related to this ASM to be distributed to stockholders of record as of record date June 2, 2023 through the following methods. A, by publication in both online and print formats on the Philippine Star and the Manila Bulletin on June 6 and 7, 2023, the last publication being made at least 21 days prior to this ASM. By posting on the website of Monde Nissin Corporation at www.mondenisin.com and by disclosure through the Philippine Stock Exchange EDGE Investors Portal at www.edge.pse.com.ph. Further, the electronic copies of our definitive information statement, the 2022 annual audited consolidated financial statements, the minutes of the previous stockholders meeting, and other ASM materials are available on our website, on the AGM at Convene online platform, and on the PSE's EDGE portal.
The stockholders of record having been duly notified of this meeting, may I know from the corporate secretary whether we have a quorum?
Mr. Chairman, based on the record of attendance of today's meeting, there are represented at this meeting by proxy, by voting in absentia through the AGM at Convene online platform, and by participation through remote communication, stockholders owning or representing 15,329,679,254 common shares out of Monde Nissin Corporation's 17,968,611,496 total outstanding shares. As such, stockholders entitled to vote representing at least 85.31% of the outstanding capital stock is present at this meeting with a final count to be reflected in our minutes. I therefore certify that there is a quorum for meeting in accordance with Monde Nissin's bylaws and the revised corporation code.
There being a quorum, may I request the corporate secretary to share the rules of conduct and voting procedures for this meeting, including the measures adopted by the company to provide the stockholders the opportunity to participate in the meeting to the same extent possible as an in-person meeting.
Mr. Chairman, the rules of conduct and voting procedures were set forth in the definitive information statement and the explanation of agenda items, which form part of the notice of annual stockholders meeting. I would like to highlight to our stockholders the following. 1, the agenda for this meeting covers a range of matters requiring the vote of stockholders. These matters were included in the notice sent to stockholders for this meeting. Stockholders were also given the opportunity to propose matters for inclusion in the agenda pursuant to the applicable rules and regulations of the SEC and Monde's internal guidelines. 2, stockholders have been notified that questions received through the AGM at Convene portal or through email to investor.relations@mondenisin.com or to corporate.secretary@mondenisin.com by 5 p.m. of June 21, 2023 will be given priority. Questions received from stockholders by June 21 have been collated and will be answered during the Q&A portion, which will be taken up under the other business part of this meeting. Monde, through its Investors Relations team, will respond via email to questions not taken up during today's Q&A. 3, there are 6 agenda items to be voted on and acted upon by the stockholders. Each such agenda item will be shown on the screen as the same is being taken up in the course of the meeting. Beginning June 7, 2023, AGM at Convene portal registered stockholders were able to cast their votes on the agenda items. They may also cast their votes in real time, as the polls will remain open until the end of this meeting for stockholders who have successfully registered on the portal. Alternatively, stockholders who were provided with the option of appointing the Chief Executive Officer as their proxy. A preliminary tabulation was made of votes cast as of close of business on June 29, 2023. I will be referring to this preliminary tabulation when reporting the voting results for each agenda item during the meeting. However, the results of the final tabulation of votes with the full details of the affirmative or negative votes or abstentions will be validated by Isla Lipana and Company and reflected in the minutes of this meeting. We thank our stockholders who have voted through AGM at Convene online portal or by proxy. We encourage all stockholders attending via live feed today to vote using AGM at Convene online portal, which will remain open until the end of this meeting. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Ms. Corporate Secretary. Let us now proceed to the first item of the agenda, the approval of the minutes of the annual shareholder meetings held on June 24, 2022, an electronic copy of which is available on Monde's website and was attached to the definitive information statement as Annex E. Ms. Corporate Secretary, please present the proposed resolutions and the voting results on this item.
Mr. Chairman, management is proposing the adoption of resolution number S-1-2023 for the approval of the minutes of the annual stockholders meeting held on June 24, 2022. The resolution is shown on the screen. Resolution number S-1-2023 reads, resolved that we, the stockholders of Monde Nissin Corporation, approve as we hereby approve the minutes of annual stockholders meeting held on June 24, 2022. Regarding the voting results on this item, stockholders owning 15,329,679,254 common shares representing 85.31% of the total outstanding capital stock of Monde have voted for the adoption of resolution number S-1-2022. Accordingly, resolution number S-2023 has been approved.
Thank you. The minutes are hereby approved and presented. Let us now proceed to the next item of the agenda. The presentation of the management reports comprising A, the message of the chairpersons, B, the report of the Chief Executive Officer, and C, the report of the Chief Financial Officer. I now turn you over to our chairperson of the board, Ms. Kathleen Darmono, for her message.
Thank you, Henry. Thank you, Henry. Good morning and greetings to our stockholders and distinguished members of the Monde Nissin Board of Directors and colleagues. It is a pleasure to welcome you to our 2023 annual stockholders meeting. Our journey as a company is an ongoing process firmly rooted on Monde Nissin's corporate aspiration to improve the well-being of people and the planet and create sustainable solutions for food security. Indeed, our aspiration to improve the well-being of the people and the planet and create sustainable solutions for food security was particularly relevant during 2022. Issues of food security and affordability were headlines issues felt globally. We reacted to protect ourselves and help our consumers. Socio-political factors, including export restrictions and geopolitical tensions catalyzed by the Russia-Ukraine war, hindered the flow of goods and subsequently the availability of imported resources. We acted expeditiously to secure adequate supplies. Additionally, as inflation significantly picked up during 2022, impacting our financial performance as well as the affordability of food for our consumers, we carefully balanced the need of our business with that of our consumers when implementing needed price increases. Despite these and other headwinds, Monde Nissin experienced strong single-digit growth, highlighting the strength and resiliency of its strong balanced portfolio. Now, I would like to turn it over to our CEO, Henry Susanto, and CFO, Jessie Teo, to provide the management report on our full year 2022 results, along with highlights so far this year.
Thank you, Chairperson Kathleen, and greeting to our stockholders, board of directors, and colleagues. Before going into the details, I would like to give everyone some quick highlights of this past year's performance. Despite the challenges brought about by the inflationary environment and other headwinds, Monde Nissin ended year 2022 with strong performance from our well-loved brands, growing by 6.6% to 73.9 billion pesos. Our Asia Pacific branded food and beverage business, or APAC BFB business, saw an 8.4% increase in net sales year-on-year. Despite very challenging condition in the meat alternative category, our meat alternative business, corn food, grew its market share from 29.9% in the fourth quarter of 2021 to 32.5% for the fourth quarter of 2020. Supported by the food service segment, where each product were able to reach more schools, quick service restaurants, and hospitals in the UK. And as a testament of our business commitment to creating brands that consumer can appreciate, our instant noodles brand Lucky Me was recognized by the Qatar Brands Footprint Report for 2023 as the brand of the decades and #1 most chosen brand in the Philippines for the 9th year. In short, 2022 was a very challenging operating environment, but we approached the issue head on and made necessary adjustment as needed for our business, while also keeping our consumers in mind. I would like to turn it over to Jesse to provide more details on our full year 2022 financials and recent development. Jesse, please.
Thank you, Henry, and good day to everyone. Consolidated revenue for the year 2022 ended at 73.9 billion, increasing by 6.7%, given the pricing actions we took and the volume growth. Full year net sales for the APAC branded food and beverage business increased by 8.4% to 58.6 billion. Meanwhile, revenues from the meat alternative business grew by 1% to 15.4 billion, reflecting the tough trading environment due to the macroeconomic conditions in key markets. First, diving into our APAC branded food and beverage business, which makes up 79% of the total sales of full year 2022. Our 8.4% full year net sales growth for this business was driven by price increase in all segments, coupled with volume growth in the biscuits and other categories. The domestic business grew by 9.3% year-on-year to 55 billion for 2022 due to growth in the fourth quarter surpassing pre-pandemic levels in biscuits, beverage, and culinary, and the strong recovery in noodles. With our portfolio of value products, we sustain our market leadership position despite market share dips in some categories. For noodles, market share declined primarily due to the regulatory issue in July. Looking at it on a monthly basis, though, you can see that recovery is evident with our market share as of December 2022, already higher than our market share low in October 2022. In fact, our March 2023 already exceeded our market share prior to the crisis. The swift recovery of our market share was enabled by timely collaboration and proactive communication with regulators, effective brand communication, and compelling promotions. We believe we have plans and programs in place to sustain market share recovery and regain growth momentum. Efforts such as these are why our flagship noodle brand Lucky Me was once again, as mentioned by Henry, recognized by the Qatar Brand Footprint Report as the #1 most chosen brand in the Philippines for the 9th year in a row, making Lucky Me the brand of the decade. Next, biscuits grew due to pricing actions and volume increases from the resumption of in-person activities. We maintained our market leadership in this category despite some share loss. We are planning to rejuvenate our core biscuit brands through strengthened value proposition, equity building activities, and improving product availability. The others business in APAC branded food and beverage consists primarily of our partnership with other companies. For culinary, Mamacita's oyster sauce continued to drive category growth and strengthen its number one position as household penetration increase and market share improve. This indicates that consumer continues to respond to the education campaign on use versatility of oyster sauce. For beverage, our business benefited from improved supply and increased mobility. We further solidified our number one market share position of Dutch Mill in the drinking yogurt business. Our cultured milk delight grew significant share as the number two brand in the segment. Moving on to our meat alternative business, which comprises 21% of our total sales in full year 2022, with our corn and cauldron brands. Revenue was flat year-on-year on an organic basis as a challenging macroeconomic environment persisted in the UK and the US. UK market share gains and food service supported the business. Before we get into our focus areas, recall that we produce a unique microorganism-based protein called mycoprotein using our proprietary airlift fermenter technology. Through decades of research and production know-how, we have a product that A, delivers superior nutrition with increasing scientific research on its health benefits. B, is better for the planet using less carbon, water, and land in our value chain. And C, mimics meat in terms of texture, is neutral in taste, and is versatile, allowing us to come up with alternative meat products across all meat types. Turning to our focus areas, in the UK, which is our biggest market, we were able to strengthen our number one position during the ongoing macroeconomic and category challenges. While shoppers experienced high food inflation and shifted to their basket of goods, to address this economic challenge, we were able to grow our retail distribution by 18.5% to 166,000 points of distribution, equivalent to 27% of the total meat-free distribution points. This reflects consumer preference for corn and its brand and its products. Moving on to the food service and QSR, this has been steadily contributing to our meat alternative business through the quarters. For food service, we supply meat alternative to 24,000 schools and 15 universities as of end 2022. We also sell to companies and hospitals. We are able to provide our food service customers a healthier alternative and help them develop recipes using our products. For QSR, in particular with KFC, we continue our success story rolling out across Europe and beyond. We are now in 20 countries as a permanent menu item, realizing a 100% conversion rate from starting off as a limited time offer. Our credibility does not come from what we have just done in the last year, but from what we have done for the last 25 years. During Monde Nissin's ownership, we have even accelerated the growth of our meat alternative business, growing 5.3% compounded annually since our acquisition of Corn Foods, and an even higher 8.3% if we exclude the last few challenging years. Today, corn has gained the loyalty of consumers that assures its further growth. As the world population continues to grow, its protein requirements will continue to grow, and the traditional supply, as is, will not be able to keep up with the demand. This gives us confidence in the continued long-term growth of alternative protein, despite the category slowdown at this point in time. All in all, there's a lot to do, but we are making progress despite the external market headwinds, and we remain optimistic for the category as well as our leading brand in the long term. Now returning to the consolidated level, on profitability, core net income attributable to stockholders decreased by 19.6% to 6.6 billion, primarily driven by a decline in gross profit, increased operating expense, partially offset by an effective US dollar hedge. We reported a net loss of 13 billion, mainly due to a non-cash, non-operating impairment of the intangibles of our meat alternative business. The impairment was caused by the application of a higher discount rate due to the prevailing higher interest rates and risk premiums, some margin compression, and rationalization of the trends in the meat alternative category. This impairment does not have any effect on the day-to-day operations of Corn, Cauldron, or any of the Monde Nissin's APAC branded food and beverage businesses. The net loss of 13 billion for the year consisted mainly of impairment and restructuring costs for meat alternative business, partially offset by the derivative gains from the unwinding of the cross-currency swap. Now, while we experience challenges in 2022, we believe that business fundamentals remain intact, with core business units recovering and emerging business units growing steadily. We have a strong balance sheet and our ratios continue to be healthy, allowing us to pursue innovation in new products and processes and invest in our brands. Now I turn you back over to Henry to speak on our long-term strategies.
Thank you, JC. Long term, we see a long runway for each of our businesses. We will leverage our expertise on innovations, brand building, health, sustainability, and convenience to create products and address consumers' demand. For meat alternative, we will stay on course with our new product developments that address demand for healthier and more sustainable food. We believe that while there are short-term macroeconomic headwinds, the long-term consumer awareness on health and sustainability will continue. We will also ensure that our products continue to be accessible and that our capacity remains sufficient to accommodate long-term growth. We will do all this while we continue to adhere to our aspirations to improve the well-being of the people and the planet and create sustainable solutions for food security. Our group has been built through continuous innovation and investment ahead of the changing consumer taste. With this comes our plans for continuous improvements and action, which are laid out in our sustainability strategy and focus area. We are now in the process of embedding into our ways of doing business a sustainability framework along the themes of making better food accessibility possible, making eco-efficiency possible, making inclusivity possible, and making collective action possible. In 2020, progress North Star targets, taking concrete steps towards its ambitious goals as the company works to become better. Each of our sustainability strategic pillars supports certain United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And it is through this that we believe we will be able to progress in making better possible. This has helped us ensure the short-term sustainability and business continuity of our company. Our consolidated revenue for the first quarter of 2023 grew by 9.6% to 20.1 billion pesos due to the strong growth of our APAC BFP categories, in particular domestic noodles. APAC BFP net sales for the first quarter of 2023 increased by 13.7% to 16.5 billion pesos, mainly driven by volume growth and price increases in all categories. The domestic business in particular grew 13.4% year-on-year to 15.5 billion pesos in quarter one, again due to the strong growth in all categories. Meanwhile, meat alternative revenue declined by 4.3% in Q1 of 2023 on an organic basis due to the continued category headwinds. On a reported The UK and US signed on organization in Q1, respectively, due to the challenging retail market, while food service grew by 4.6% for the first quarter. With this, we will continue to be prudent with the capital we have. The bulk of our CapEx for 2023 will be injected in the APAC PFP business as demand continues to grow for our segments here. The meat alternative, we are tapering CapEx considering the overall state of the meat alternative business. And as we believe corn's capacity is already sufficient to fulfill current demand levels. We continue to be confident in the long-term potential of the meat alternative space, but we'll balance this with company's financial health. As such, we have announced that infusing up to 40 million British pound sterling in transfers to our UK entity through our Singapore entity. 34 billion British pound sterling will be used to particularly repay sterling term loan and reduce negative carry in a higher interest rate environment. As our British pound sterling asset base has significantly gone down, it is prudent that our natural hedge of British pound sterling debt should correspondingly go down. Meanwhile, 6 million British pound sterling will be used for the restructuring of corn food in the UK and the US, which will enable us to save on certain fixed costs. Our drive for structuring to organization to a smaller footprint. In the US, we will focus on protecting our distribution point, accelerating the rate of sales in this distribution point, and shutting down our UK kitchen as part of this restructuring. For the rest of the company, we will right-size our organization. The objective is to retain our capability and remain flexible in order to restart our growth plan when the market shifts. All this is possible with the collaboration and care of our people. Those working on the ground in our facility and on the field, as well as those of our offices. We are most grateful and highly appreciative of the efforts they have made in the past year. As stewards of our stakeholders' trust, the entire Monde Nissin team will continue to work hard and exemplify the excellence as we pursue our aspiration to improve the well-being of people and the planet and create sustainable solutions for food security. Thank you. Now, may I ask the Corporate Secretary to present the proposed resolution regarding the management report and voting results?
Mr. Chairman, management is proposing the adoption of resolution number S-2-2023 for the stockholders to take note of the management report, which consists of the message of the board chairperson, the report of the chief financial officer, and the report of the chief executive officer. The resolution is shown on the screen. Resolution number S-2-2023 reads, resolved that we stockholders of Monde Nissin Corporation note as we hereby note the corporation's management report comprising of the message of the chairperson of the board, the report of the chief financial officer, and the report of the chief executive officer. Regarding the voting results of this resolution, stockholders owning 15,328,837,054 common shares representing 85.31% of the total outstanding capital stock of Monde have voted for the adoption of resolution number S-2-2023. Therefore, resolution number S-2-2023 has been approved.
The management report is hereby noted. Let us now proceed to the next item on the agenda, which is the ratification of the 2022 annual audited consolidated financial statement. May I ask the corporate secretary to present the proposed resolution regarding the ratification of the year 2022 annual audited consolidated financial statements of Monde Nissin Corporation and its subsidiary and the voting results.
Mr. Chairman, an electronic copy of Monde's 2022 annual audited consolidated financial statements was attached to the definitive information statement as part of Annex D, or the management report, which was made available on Monde's website, on the PSE Edge, and the AGM at Convene online portal. Management is proposing the approval of resolution number S-3-2023 for the ratification of the 2022 annual audited consolidated financial statements of Monde Nissin Corporation and its subsidiaries. The resolution is shown on the screen. Resolution number S-3-2023 reads, resolved that we, the stockholders of Monde Nissin Corporation, ratify as we hereby ratify the annual consolidated financial statements of the corporation and its subsidiaries for the year ended December 31, 2022, as audited by its external auditor, Sisig Gorres, Valayo and Company. As to the voting results on this item, stockholders owning 15,328,837,054 common shares, representing 85.31% of the total outstanding capital stock of Monde, have approved the adoption of resolution number S-3-2023. Therefore, resolution number S-3-2023 has been approved.
Thank you, Ms. Corporate Secretary. The annual consolidated financial statements of Monde Nissin Corporation and its subsidiaries for the year ended December 31st, 2022, and audited by its external auditor, SGB and Company, are hereby ratified. The next item in the agenda is the ratification of the acts of Board of Directors, Board Committee, officers, and management of the period for the period of June 24, 2022 to June 30, 2023. May I ask the Corporate Secretary to present the proposed resolution regarding the matter and the voting results?
Mr. Chairman, our Board of Directors and Management seek ratification of all acts and resolutions of the Board of Directors, the Executive Committee, and other board committees, which were adopted from June 24, 2022 until today, June 30, 2023. These acts and resolutions are summarized in the explanation and rationale of agenda items portion of the definitive information statement. They include the election of the members of the various board committees, the lead independent director, the appointment of officers, appointment of attorneys in fact, and authorized signatories, capital allocation, disbursement of funds to subsidiaries, treasury-related matters, investments, approval of agreements needed by the company in the normal course of business, and matters covered by disclosures to the SEC and the PSE. Stockholders' ratification is also being sought for the acts of officers and management taken to implement the resolutions of the board, the executive committee, and the other board committees, or perform in the general conduct of business pursuant to our bylaws, done or performed from June 24, 2022 to June 30, 2023. We are showing on the screen resolution number S-4-2023. Resolution number S-4-2023 reads, resolved that we, the stockholders of Monde Nissin Corporation, ratify as we hereby ratify each and every act and or resolution from June 24, 2022 to June 30, 2023 of the Board of Directors, the Executive Committee, and other board committees exercising powers delegated by the board, of officers and management of the corporation perform in accordance with the resolutions of the board and the executive committee and the board committees, or pursuant to the bylaws of the corporation. On the voting results, stockholders owning 054 common shares, representing 85.31% of the total outstanding capital stock of Monde, have voted for the adoption of resolution number S-4-2023. Consequently, resolution number S-4-2023 has been approved.
Thank you, Ms. Corporate Secretary. Each and all acts and or resolutions for the period of June 24, 2022 to June 30, 2023 of the Board of Directors and each board's committee of the officers and management of the company are hereby ratified. The next order of the business is the election of the 9 members of the Board of Directors of the company for the ensuing year. May I please ask the Corporate Secretary to present the list of nominees for election to the board?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Monde Nissin Corporation recognizes the importance of diversity in the membership of its board of directors. Its incumbent board comprises individuals of diverse ages, nationalities, religious affiliation, and genders, and spans a broad range of business and educational backgrounds. This diversity puts Monde's board in the best position to provide meaningful value to the company and its stockholders, consistent with Monde's core aspiration to improve the well-being of the people and the planet, and create sustainable solutions for food security. Guided by the foregoing and pursuant to Monde's Corporate Governance Nomination and Remuneration Committee's rules governing nomination and election of directors, the following nominees have been nominated as members of the Board of Directors and have consented to their respective nomination. 1. Hartono Quifanos. 2. Catalin Darmono. 3. Hediono Quifanos. 4. Betty T. Ang. 5. Henry Susanto. 6. Monica Darmono. 7. Nina Perpetua D. Aguas as Independent Director. 8. Marie Elaine Teo for Independent Director. And 9. Romeo L. Bernardo for Independent Director.
Thank you very much, Ms. Corporate Secretary. May we have the results of the election?
Mr. Chairman, there being only 9 nominees for the 9 seats, the affirmative votes in favor of those nominated have been tabulated, and each of the 9 nominees has garnered at least 14,323,594,452 affirmative votes, or at least 79.71% of the total outstanding capital stock of Monde. Given this, I hereby certify that each of the nominees has received enough votes for election to the board. Our proposed resolution S-5-2023 is now shown on the screen. Resolution number S-5-2023 reads, resolved that we, the stockholders of Monde Nissin Corporation, elect, as we hereby elect the following as stockholders of the corporation to serve as such beginning June 30, 2023 until their successors are elected and have duly qualified. Mr. Hartono Quifanos, Ms. Catalin Darmono, Mr. Hediono Quifanos, Ms. Betty T. Ang, Mr. Henry Susanto, Ms. Monica Darmono, Ms. Nina Perpetua D. Aguas for Independent Director, Ms. Marie Elaine Teo for Independent Director, and Mr. Romeo L. Bernardo for Independent Director. Given that each nominee had secured at least 79.71% in his or her favor, accordingly, resolution number S-5-2023 has been approved.
Thank you, Ms. Corporate Secretary. The next item in the agenda is the election of external auditor and the approval of its audit fee. May we request the chairperson of the audit committee to please present.
The audit committee performs oversight functions over the external auditor of the company by, among others, assessing its integrity and independence and the effectiveness of its audit processes. This is critical given the key role of the external auditor in providing objective assurance with respect to Monde's financial statements. Mr. Chairman, in the performance of this oversight function, the audit committee has evaluated the performance of Monde's incumbent external auditor, Sisip Goris Velayo and Company, for the past year, and the audit committee is satisfied with its performance. The audit committee and the board of directors have agreed to endorse for stockholders' approval the appointment of accounting firm Sisip Gores Velayo and Company as Monde's external auditor for the calendar year 2023 for an audit fee of pesos 20,750,000, exclusive of value-added taxes for audit and audit-related services.
Thank you very much, Director Aguas. Ms. Corporate Secretary, may we have the proposed resolution on this item and the voting results?
Mr. Chairman, the Board of Directors and Management are proposing the adoption of Resolution number S-6-2023 for the appointment of Monde's external auditor and the fixing of its remuneration. The resolution is being shown on the screen. Resolution number S-6-2023 reads, resolved that we, the stockholders of Monde Nissin Corporation, approve as we hereby approve the appointment of accounting firm Sisip Gores Velayo and Company as the external auditor of the corporation for the calendar year 2023 for an audit fee of 20,750,000 pesos, exclusive of VAT for its audit and audit-related services. On the voting results, I am pleased to report that stockholders owning 15,329,679,254 common shares representing 85.31% of the total outstanding capital stock of Monde have voted for the adoption of resolution number S-6-2023. Consequently, resolution number S-6-2033 has been approved.
Thank you, Ms. Corporate Secretary. The appointment of Sisip Gores Velayo and Company as Monde Nissin's external auditor for calendar year 2023 for an audit fee of 20,750,000 pesos ex VAT for its audit and audit-related service has been approved. And there are there any matters that require consideration from the stockholders?
There is none, Mr. Chairman. The stockholders were given the opportunity to submit proposals for agenda items for possible inclusion in today's agenda, but we did not receive any.
Thank you, Ms. Corporate Secretary. At this point, we will now address questions or comments from the stockholders. As mentioned by the Corporate Secretary earlier, management will reply by email to questions or comments not taken up during this meeting, but of course, we will try to address as many as we can now. I will now turn over the floor to Mr. Michael Pasta, our Chief Investor Relations Officer. He will read aloud the questions or comments together with the names of the stockholders who sent them, and the relevant director or key executive officer shall answer the same.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First question comes from stockholder Pierre Santos. Are you considering looking into any new segments or other acquisitions in Southeast Asia?
To grow our business and to optimize our portfolio, M&A is one of our strategies. We are going to look for portfolios that can create synergies with ours, either in territory or product portfolio. Ideally, opportunities will leverage our competence in distribution, marketing, consumer insight, and brand building.
Thank you. Second question comes from stockholder Aaron Legaspi. Where will the 40 million pounds sterling equity infusion come from? Will this come from the parent or is this external capital raising?
Mike, I'll take on the question. It will come from surplus cash from the parent. With our APAC branded food and beverage strong cash generating capabilities, most of the surplus cash will be in the parent. So no external capital raising is needed for this infusion.
Thank you, Jesse. Our third question comes from stockholder Marion Cole. On APAC branded food and beverage, do you see margins improving sequentially in the next quarter?
I'll also take that on. We have qualitatively guided for continual improvement in the coming quarters, as our locked-ins last year have expired and we have moved to lower inventory costs.
Thank you, Jesse. Mr. Chairman, there are no further questions.
Thank you, Mike. This concludes the 2023 Annual Stockholders Meeting of Monde Nissin Corporation. And the meeting is hereby adjourned. The link to the video recording of this meeting will be posted on company website. Stockholders may raise any issue, clarification, or concern within 2 weeks from the posting of the link by sending an email to the email address flashed on the screen. We thank you for joining us today and for your continued support to Monde Nissin Corporation. I wish you all well and please stay safe. Thank you very much.